Welcome, my dear 6th grade students. I'm Mr. Ahmed Magdy, your math teacher, and our lesson today is the 5th lesson of the 6th unit of the 6th grade curriculum for the academic year 2024-2025. This unit talks about data distribution, and today we will talk about the difference between box plot, dot plot, and the histogram. Then, how to analyze data displays to determine which is most appropriate when answering statistical questions. So let's go. The first way to represent data is a dot plot. What is the meaning of dot plot? We draw a number line and we represent our data on the number line, and after that we represent the frequency of every individual data or the repeating times of every individual data on the number line with dots or symbols. Okay, so dot plot is like this, like you see right now. This is a dot plot. If we have a group like this, we name it as the cluster. Okay, so we have a group of dots like this. We name this group of dots as a cluster. Okay, and the top point of the number line is called the peak. And if we have a space between the last dot and the dot that before it, it's like gap, and the last dot on the number line or the dot that is far away of the group or the cluster is called the outlier. Okay, so the dot plot lists every one of the individual data, shows the maximum and the minimum, shows the peaks, gaps, cluster, and outlier, shows the most frequent number, shows the total number of all individual data, and by some calculations we can get the median, the lower quartile, and the upper quartile. And it is the best way to answer statistical questions related to the individual data. So when we want to choose a way to represent individual data, this is the first and the best way to represent them. Okay, so if you see a question like, what is the best way to show individual data, to show the maximum and the minimum, to show the peak, gaps, cluster, outlier, to show the most frequent number, to show the total number of all individual data, we can say it's the dot plot. Okay, the second way to represent data is the box plot. Box plot is like we draw a line and we draw a box inside it. The first point of the line is a minimum number or the minimum value, and the last point of the line is a maximum value. Okay, and inside the box we have 3 lines. The first line shows the first quartile or the lower quartile, and the second line shows the median, and the third line shows the third quartile. Okay, and if the space between 2 lines is very little, so the data here inside this area is less spread than other spaces. So if we have the space between 2 points or two numbers of the number summary of any individual data, we can say this space is more spread than other spaces. Okay, so if we wanted to choose the box plot for something, we can say the box plot here shows the maximum value, the minimum value, the median, the lower quartile, the upper quartile, and shows the spread of data in each quarter. But box plot does not show the total number of individuals data or their exact value. Okay, and it's the best way to show distribution and the spread, and this spread, and also shows the 5-number summary. So if we want to choose a display or way to represent data that shows the maximum, the minimum, the median, the lower quartile, the upper quartile, we can choose the box plot. If we want a way to show the spread of data in each quarter, we can choose the box plot. If we want to show if we want a way to represent the data and to show the distribution and the spread and show the 5-number summary, we can choose the box plot. The third way to show data or represent data is the histogram. The histogram shows the set of data in form of intervals, so we cannot show individual data. Histogram shows the number of individual data in each interval and also shows the total number of all individual data. And the histogram shows the interval or the class with the greatest frequency, but it does not show the 5-number summary, like median, the lower quartile, the upper quartile, the maximum value, or the minimum value. We cannot know all of these with histogram, but it is the best way to answer statistical questions about the grouped data. Okay, so if we want a way to show data in form of intervals, we can choose histogram. If we want a way to show the interval with the greatest frequency, we can choose histogram. If we wanted to choose a way to answer statistical questions with the grouped data, we can choose histogram. Okay, so if we have an example like this, if we rolled a die 15 times and the recorded results are like you see right now, so we created a dot plot, a box plot, and a histogram to display the same data as the following. Okay, and after that we want to know which display can be used to find the lower quartile. I think we know the answer because it's the box plot, because the box plot is the only way that we can know the lower quartile, the median, and the upper quartile. So we can choose box plot. The second one, which display can be used to find how many times the number 4 is occurred. I think if we look again on or to the ways to represent data, I think it's the top plot, because it's the only way that shows individual data. And if we want to know how many times that a number shows on the face, so I think it's the top plot, because we know that here 4 shows 2 times. So I think it is a dot plot that we choose to find how many times that the number is occurred. Number C, which display can be used to find how many times the number 3 or more are occurred. I think here we ask a statistical question of a grouped data, because we ask about 3 or more. So this is an interval. So I think the best way to answer a statistical question on interval or a group data, I think it is a histogram. This is a histogram that we want to know. Okay. Next, we want to know which display or which way to represent data that shows this data. The first one, the shape that shows individual data. I think it's only one way, and I think it's the dot plot. Okay, because it is the only way that shows individual data. The second way, or the second one, is which shape shows the maximum value. The maximum value is known by 2 ways. The first way is the dot plot. From the dot plot, we can know the maximum value. And also we can know the maximum value by the box plot. Okay, so we have 2 ways to know the maximum value of any data set. Okay, the third one is which shape shows the median. I think we have 2 ways. The first one is the dot plot, because from the dot plot we can know the median, but by some calculations, and we can know also the median by box plot, because from the box we can know the lower quartile and the upper quartile and the median. The fourth one, the shape shows the set of data in forms of intervals. If we deal with groups or intervals, so we will choose the histogram. Again, if we deal with data in form of intervals or groups, so we will choose the histogram. Next, I want to know the shape that shows the lower quartile. The lower quartile, I think we had 2 ways to know the lower quartile. The first one, I think it's the dot plot, but by some calculations. But if we want an easy way to know the lower quartile, I think it is a box plot. So we have 2 ways to know the lower quartile. Next, I want to know the shape that shows gaps and cluster. I think we have only one way, and I think it's the dot plot, because it's the only way that shows gaps and cluster. Next, I want to know the shape that shows the most frequent number. I think it's only one way, and I think it's the dot plot, because it's the only way that shows the number of frequency for every number. Next, I wanted to know the shape that shows the total number of all individual data. Which shape? Yeah, no. We have another one before it. The shape that shows spread of data in each quarter. I think we have only one way, and I think it's the box plot, because it's the only way that shows the spread of data and in each quarter. Okay. Next, I wanted to show the shape that shows the number of the total number of all individual data. I think we have two ways to know the total number of all individual data, and I think it's the first one is the dot plot, and the second one is the histogram, because histogram shows the total number of all individual data, because we divide the data into groups, but the total number is still constant. Okay. Next, I wanted to show the shape that does not show the 5-number summary. I think we have only one way, and I think it's the histogram. The histogram is the only way that does not show the 5-number summary. The last one is us, the shape that does not show the individual data. I think we have two ways that does not show the individual data. The first one is the box plot, because box plot does not show the individual data, and the second one is the histogram, because histogram does not deal with individual data. Okay. Next, we have a question like this. If you collected data about the number of employees in each office in a company and created both a histogram and a dot plot to display the same data. Okay, so this is the histogram and this is the dot plot. First, which display can be used to find the maximum number of employees in an office? I think we have only one way, and this way is the dot plot. So we have the first one is the dot plot. Next, which display can be used to find the number of offices that contains 6 employees or more and less than 10 employees? I think we deal in this question with a grouped data or an interval. So if we deal with a group or interval, so we need a histogram. Next, which display can be used to find the upper quartile of the number of employees? We don't know, or we don't have the box plot, so we can use the dot plot with some calculations to find the upper quartile, the lower quartile, and the median. So I think the display can be used to find the upper quartile is the dot plot. Next, I want to know which display make it clear that there is no offices with 3 employees. I think we cannot know this information from the histogram. So I think it's the way that makes it clear there is no offices with 3 employees is the dot plot. Okay. Next, we have some question or multi-choice questions that comes in our final exams. The first one here is the graph that would display the data in form of equal intervals is what? We deal with intervals, so we need histogram. Next, what is the number of pupils that have 20 to 35 pictures on their devices? The better way or the better graphical representation for this question is what? I think we deal with intervals, so I think we need histogram. Next, which display makes it easier to see the median? I think the easiest way to see the median is the box plot. Next, the outlier value of the following data. We have 2, 3, 5, 7, 2, and 20. 20 is very far away from the biggest number here, 7. So the outlier should be 20 because it's far away of this cluster from 2 to 7. Next, from the following data set, we have 32, 38, 27, 36, 128, and 29. The outlier value is what? I think 128 is very far away and very big from the biggest number here to 38. So I think the outlier is 128. Next, the type of graph that represents individual data values is what? I think if we deal with individual data, we deal with dot plot. Next, which display makes it easier to see the lower quartile? I told you, if we want to see the lower quartile, the median, and the upper quartile, I think we need the box plot. And with this, we have finished our video today, in which we talked about the difference between box plot, dot plot, histogram, then how to analyze data displays to determine which is appropriate when, which is mostly appropriate when answering statistical questions. I hope people understood our lesson today, and I hope that you solve many exercises on this lesson so that you can understand more. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Don't forget to like and share the video with your friends. Subscribe to my channel. See you soon in a new video. and a new lesson. I'm Mr. Ahmed Magdy, your math teacher. Goodbye.